Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, all of you, based on your time zones. Today, it is my pleasure to talk to you about how the artificial intelligence and machine learning can help strengthen the cyber security. Now, this particular cyber security has been a challenging task for various professionals because of the fact that the systems are more interconnected and there have been many applications, wide usage of applications from the different people which are happening on the internet. So if we look into the present day, we are able to see that there are many threats, many malicious content flowing in the internet, and it is becoming a challenging task in order to analyze each and every log and to prevent these kind of cyber attacks. So let's see what we have today, and let's go to. So today, as part of this discussion, we will talk about the cyber threats, how they are posing the challenge, what are advanced persistent threats, what are the various log sources for us to analyze these various threats, and then what are the various challenges we are facing in analysis. And then we will talk about how artificial intelligence and machine learning will be able to help us in doing the analysis of these threats and how we can prevent these attacks or maybe minimize these attacks. And we will talk about the popular classification and regression techniques and algorithms which we generally use in machine learning or deep learning in order to analyze these various threats. So let us talk about 2 decades ago, how the different users were able to interact, right? So if we look into the evolution of this internet, in the initial days, we used to have a system which had the capacity in terms of the memory, the processor, and the disk space, which was not properly getting utilized when you had very few applications loaded. So most of the time it was observed that the processing capability is not being fully utilized, or the RAM or the disk space is not getting fully utilized. So due to this, the people, or I would say the scientists, thought about how to get the systems connected. And then came up the OSI reference model, wherein we are able to connect two different systems together, and the application exchange and the data exchange has become possible. Now, during those days, as there were very few users and there were very few people who were actually using the PC, other than the scientists who were working on the very large supercomputers, people like you and me, we were not so much accustomed to the system and we never had the PC for our day-to-day usage. So during those days, the security was not at all very important, or maybe not thought about, right? But when the systems were connected together, we have seen that the usage of the people increased. The different purposes are now able to serve, like we are able to now connect each other over the LinkedIn. We are able to exchange files. So that way, when we look into that, old age systems have now been made possible for one-to-one connectivity, and we all are now connected across the world. Now, the more number of users, obviously the more number of cyber threats have crept in. Now, how did we solve this problem, or rather why this problem is not solved so far? Let us debate on that. Now, when the systems were connected, there came the routers where the two different networks were able to communicate with each other. Then came the firewalls where they used to apply the policies in order to prevent any kind of interaction from one particular system or one particular network to other network. And then came the spoofing, wherein misusing the inside IP, the attackers were manipulating the packets and they were sending the packets to their inside network, right, with the help of the inside IP, thereby violating the firewall policies, or rather firewall was unable to understand that this particular IP has to be blocked, because mainly because of the fact that the IP address what was appearing for the firewall was an inside IP, so it was allowing that traffic. So the packets spoofed from internet as if they are inside packets were able to reach the destination. And then came the anti-spoofing feature in these firewalls. But at the firewall level, we are able to block only at the IP address levels, and then there were continuous research and continuous improvement in these different kinds of infrastructure, and then we are able to see the IDS, IPS, and then the UTM firewalls. So thereby there have been continuous research and continuous products have evolved in order to sorry, in order to counter these different threats. There have been a continuous process in improvising these. However, continuously these cyber threats are growing by leaps and bounds. And these cyber threats, if we categorize into different vulnerabilities, we can see that it is leading to lot of cyber crimes. And due to these cyber criminals, customer information is being exposed, financial information is getting leaked out. We are able to see multiple breaches nowadays, even though all the systems are highly secured, but still it is not able to prevent these breaches. And there is a lack of securing these different kinds of breaches, lack of preventing these breaches, and thereby it is also leading to the customer passwords, credit card information being leaked out. And we are able to see all this on the dark web, and they are being sold by the hackers who are present on the dark web and trading with all the information and the data that they have collected. And if we look into the various types of cyber threats, we can classify them into like phishing, which is 22% of all the cyber threats that are happening. And we have the malwares, where they are able to extract or exfiltrate your confidential information by getting into the systems by using the cyber kill chain process, and they are able to exploit and exfiltrate all the data, the information, the financial information, and thereby causing a lot of loss to the organizations in terms of the reputation as well as in terms of the design stealing, or in terms of confidential information getting stolen. So that is causing a lot of loss in terms of the billions or trillions of dollars globally year on year. But given the current systems, there have been a lot of efforts from the cybersecurity professionals by improvising either the people, skills, the process, and the technology in overcoming these kind of cyber attacks, or trying to prevent them, to detect them, and to remediate them. However, In spite of all the efforts, as many efforts we are putting in, the equal or more amount of efforts are being put in by hackers in devising new innovative ways to attack our systems and to perform the cyber criminal activities. So while we are dealing with these different kinds of threats, it has been a continuous process to detect these. However, with the kind of the analysis that we do using, even though we are using the tools like the SIMSOC tools we use for cyber threat detections and reporting, we use the different kinds of application security tools in order to perform the application security testing on the applications. And we also have other tools to protect our endpoints so that we can detect the malicious code. We have the antivirus solutions. We have so many solutions which are there in the system. In spite of all those, the detection time of the cyber threats are like, most of the time, if we see on an average, it is Gartner report says that on an average it takes around 90 days to detect one particular vulnerability, which is advanced persistent threat, which is luring there into your networks. And 94% of the malwares are delivered by email. $8.19 million of cost it is incurring for the breach, right? And this is causing a lot of lag in terms of remediating these particular different attacks or vulnerabilities that are identified. So because of these challenges, now if we consider that if you are able to detect a breach only after 90 days, now imagine within that 90 days time what all loss it might incur to you, which you might have not even detected it. It can cause a huge loss. He might be able to capture, he might be able to gather lot of information which is very confidential to you, which is secretive information from the business perspective. So thereby the present day situation demands that we detect these different cyber threats with as less delay as possible. So your detection times have to improve. Now there are various logs which are collected at different sources, right? So analyzing those logs also is difficult. So because of that reason, the detection times are more, and we are now looking at ways and means to reduce these detection times so that the cyber attacks can be identified within a short span of time, and how we can overcome those using the modern day. So when we talk about these different kinds of threats and the vulnerabilities which are present for a very long time into your system and they remain undetected, those undetected vulnerabilities are the ones which are very dangerous to you, because you'd never know what is the threat that particular vulnerability is posing, right? So generally whenever any attack happens with a clear intention of causing a loss to you with a certain objective, that the attacker wants some kind of information, he wants to gather your confidential data, he wants to access the privileged database, he wants to capture your financial details or any kind of transactions. So there is definitely an objective with which a hacker or an attacker attacks your systems with a very highly skilled mindset and very sophisticated tools, which may include the scripts, which may include the tools which they might devise based upon their target, right? So generally, whenever any hacker intends to attack your system, first thing what will happen is he will define a target. In order to define a target, he will first initiate the reconnaissance process, wherein he will be able to discover your network systems, your perimeters, your servers, your operating systems. So at the perimeter level, you will be applying a security solution, which can be a mix of the firewalls, the UTMs, and the various tools. But in spite of that, because of these advanced persistent threats, what exactly you are losing is whatever data information you need to secure, those need to be protected. So here, when we look into the advanced persistent threats, the attacker will define the target. He will find and organize a group of people who are like-minded like him, whose intention is to initiate the attack, whose objective is to capture your information or your confidential data, and he will acquire certain tools in order to fulfill his objective. And once he has reconnaissance data with him, he will try to research how he can target that particular system which is his objective. He will try to gather lot of analysis, lot of information about how your network system is built, what are the various servers that you have, how the network communication is happening within your systems. All these different analysis he will perform in order to map your complete network information, your system's information, so that he can identify and detect what vulnerabilities you have in your system, and thereby he will identify the particular vulnerabilities and how to exploit those vulnerabilities. Those particular divisive techniques he will define, he will identify, and then he will use the detection techniques in order to find out these vulnerabilities so that he can exploit them. Then he will deploy either the malicious code or the phishing attack or any kind of such various techniques to exploit that particular attack, what he has detected being vulnerable. And then he will intrude into your network. Then after the network is intruded, once he reaches a particular system or any infrastructure within your organization, he will initiate an outbound connection. And after initiating outbound connection, he will try to gather all the other relevant details all about your systems, about your infrastructure, and then he will obtain the credentials which can help him act as an admin or any kind of such privileged user information. And then he will try to strengthen the foothold within your system so that he can gather as much information as possible. So the moment he has penetrated, the moment he has captured the confidential information, privileged information, he will be able to exfiltrate all your inside data, because now he has already gained those privileges which can help him to copy the data and exfiltrate out into the internet. And then obviously, because he has got admin privileges, then he will be able to cover the tracks, eliminate the logs or delete the logs, and thereby he will remain undetected. Now, given this challenge, now if you look back into what all the various logs that we have, those need to be analyzed. So in addition to these various vulnerabilities which are remaining undetected, those can be either due to the misconfiguration of your firewalls or wrong configuration of the policies, or those can be misconfiguration of your any of your network systems, servers, right? Suppose now, let's say for example, I have not configured certain read-write policies for my confidential data, then obviously anybody will be able to copy my data, right? So similarly, there can be any kind of misconfigurations or any kind of pre-existing vulnerabilities which are in the form of a zero-day vulnerabilities into the COTS applications or any applications that you have deployed, right? And these cannot be detected so easily, right? Because until and unless you test them specifically, if you know that there is a particular vulnerability, then you may have to test your applications in order to detect those vulnerabilities and act on them, right? So, and then the various solutions, tools, what we have need to bring in together, work in tandem together in order to detect these advanced persistent threats. And then there are social engineering attacks which are very easy to perform. Suppose if you are calling up as a boss, your your target person may be able to disclose the confidential information because he never knows whom he is talking to, because you are impersonating his boss. So it is very easy for him to give out the confidential information unknowingly. So due to these various challenges in detecting advanced persistent threats, we need improvised methods. Now we have seen these various log sources, right? So we have network perimeter devices, servers, databases, firewalls. In any of these various locations, we can find the logs. But imagine the amount of logs that are getting generated for every transaction. Now let us say you are just typing in google.com into your browser. The request goes all the way from your endpoint till the google.com server, all the way across from your endpoint till the detection of that server, and again responds back to your browser. In between all this, we come across lakhs and lakhs of routers in the internet, multiple servers and databases the packet has to traverse, and within your network you may have firewalls, IPS endpoints, and then you may have multiple applications, multiple firewall switches. You have a lot of infrastructure in one small typical organization. You may come across at least around, not less than around 50 to 100 various devices and endpoints. Now given this volume of the devices, you can imagine how many logs it might get generated. Your server captures the logs, your OS captures the logs, your firewall captures the logs. Now, if you as a security engineer, if you want to analyze the advanced persistent threats or malicious content, then you may have to analyze each and every log, which is practically not feasible as a human being to finish all these tasks in a very short span of time, due to which the detection times are more, right? So here, even if you analyze one particular log in one particular machine, you may want to correlate that, but for that you may say that yes, we have SIMSOC solution. our SIM can correlate these logs. But if you look into even the SIMSOC solution, it needs to parse the events, it needs to understand the events, it needs to raise the red flag only when it is able to correlate this as in the form of an incident, and then you can start acting upon the incident. But by that time also, lot of time would have gone and the damage could have happened, right? So that is where exactly we will talk about the artificial intelligence. So here, what exactly are the challenges? As a human being, as a security expert, even if you want to analyze these various logs, the first thing is the log volumes are very huge. In each and every system, you come across thousands of logs, and by the time you analyze it, already it would have been a delay, and you may not be able to prevent the attack, and you may not be able to remediate that particular attack in a short span of time. Then we have one more challenge, which is awareness of security. As I was saying, the hackers or the attackers are oversmarting the cybersecurity professionals and devising innovative methods. So obviously, that level of awareness, if a security professional is unable to match, then obviously it is a challenge, and we may not be able to analyze it the way he has analyzed our system and has penetrated and has caused the havoc into our infrastructure. And then the design challenges, like the kind of the infrastructure design you have, the security solutions that you have designed, you may need to analyze each and every aspect. Like it is possible that the design may need changes. It is also possible that the kind of the solutions you have integrated, they may need to be analyzed, and you may need to understand how you may have to change that, because again you may have to undergo the change management process, which is also very difficult to approve given the fact that it will impact the organization on a large scale. And then the skills is also a challenge, because if we look into these kind of cyber threats, the kind of damage that are being caused nowadays, it's very difficult to match those kind of professionals, because the availability or the expertise and the kind of the knowledge of the tools of to do the forensic analysis, it is also very scarce. So this is the reason why we may have to identify other methods. So when we talk about these new methods to analyze the various logs, we have nowadays artificial intelligence as a technology which is evolving continuously, and that is helping us to collect lots of data. Whatever data we have, we should be able to assimilate that and work on that data, clean it, manipulate it, prepare it, and feed it to the system. And once we feed that data, we have the model. Generally, when we talk about the artificial intelligence system, it is purely based upon the mathematical modeling, wherein you are writing some function and you are feeding in those variables to that function and you are getting an output, right? So similar to that, in the artificial intelligence system, we are training the model. First, we have to build the model, of course, based upon your objective that you want to achieve. You train the model, feed the data to the model. The model will learn from the data. Now, we can compare this artificial intelligence with human intelligence, what we gain when we are growing up. Like when we are a small child, we sometimes inadvertently, unknowingly touch some hot object, and once we feel that it is hot, next time we will not go near that. So similarly, in artificial intelligence systems, the models are trained to act on the data what has been collected and give out the result, and any kind of improvisation that you may want to do, you will be able to do that based on the outcome that you have achieved. And once you are able to improvise your model, the performance on the outcome that you get after the continuous improvisation will help you attain or achieve your objective. Now, if we apply this log analysis into the artificial intelligence system, what are the various benefits that you will get? First thing is, the main advantage is you will be able to work on the huge volumes of data. Second thing is, whatever kind of classification or correlation that you were looking for, which was not possible with a SIMSOC solution, you will be able to achieve, because you have the huge data collection with you. You have the data from all the various log sources, which you can feed into the artificial intelligence system and gain the visibility of that data, what a SIMSOC cannot do. And that visibility of the data can be achieved using the various classification and correlation algorithms and the regression algorithms that we will talk about in the next few minutes. And these various logs you are able to collect, gather, build the data sets and feed those into the algorithms, and you will be able to achieve the correlation. And this continuous process helps you fine tune the various kind of cyber threats that have happened, but you were not able to detect them. Now, if we feed into all these various sets of data to the model, you will be able to identify which is the one source IP address which has been constantly targeting your machines, and for how long, from how many days he has been targeting. Those logs you will be able to capture, and you will be able to analyze at machine speeds. And when you collect the logs from the different sources, from your network perimeters, from your endpoints, from your operating systems, you will find that commonality here. You will be able to track from which particular IP the target or the attack was initiated, and how it has traversed, what was that particular hacker's interest. Continuously, if you keep analyzing his destination IP packet, you will be able to identify how many attacks he has triggered, how many targets he has traversed, and what kind of vulnerabilities he has identified. So all these, there is no limit practically in collecting the information and analyzing it using the artificial intelligence systems. So when we talk about how this AI can help you, artificial intelligence is helping us with the help of, by using the machine learning or deep learning algorithms. Now, when we look into the raw data, you may not be able to understand how this attack is initiated, or what are the various targets of that particular hacker. You may not be able to visualize it, right? You may have to correlate lot many logs, which was not practically possible. So that is why we are today talking about these new advanced techniques. So here the machine learning algorithms like the supervised learning or unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning can help you in doing this data classification, correlation, and helping you visualize how the attacks have been triggered and what are the current vulnerabilities which have been exploited by the hacker, that you will be able to learn. Now in supervised learning, we have the classification and regression algorithms. Now these algorithms are like logistic regression, we have naive Bayes, we have stochastic gradient, and we have k nearest neighbors, and decision tree, random forest, support vector machines. These different kind of classification and regression algorithms we have. Now how they will help you? Suppose you have collected lot of logs in a particular file, and now you want to understand and analyze how many times the hacker has attacked, and when the attacker has triggered this attack, what is that time frame that it has taken for him to initiate the attack and the exploitation which was successful. This time frame you may want to analyze. You may also want to analyze what are his various destination targets within last 1 hour or let's say 1 month. How many targets he has attacked. So when you are using the supervised learning, you will be able to classify these different data sets what you have collected so far in identifying the target database, the various target machines. It can help you classify as to how many endpoints have been exploited, how many vulnerabilities have been identified by the hacker, and how whether he was able to successfully exfiltrate the data, how many privileged accounts he has hacked. So all this kind of information you will be able to visualize by using this classification and regression techniques. And by applying the visualization techniques, like for example, if you take k nearest neighbors algorithm, you will be able to see the closeness of the incidents that are happening. I mean, if you talk about the frequency, you may want to see like within last 1 month, how many attacks have happened. If you go by the Norman analysis, you may have to query the lot of database. You may have to query multiple log sources, and then you may be able to see how many attacks have happened, but that will take its own time. But when this machine learning model is already trained, visually you can see in the form of a graphical analysis as to how many such attacks have happened, what is the time frame within which the attacks have happened. All this you can see graphically. Thereby you will be able to take quicker decisions because it can show you the analysis which is very easy to interpret. Similarly, when we talk about the unsupervised learning, see, when we talk about unsupervised learning, these are the algorithms where they perform on their own, in the sense that we are not feeding any information to these algorithms wherein they should learn from your inputs. In the supervised learning algorithms, we should be able to give the input to the algorithms saying that, okay, if I talk about trying to classify between an apple and an orange, I should tell that algorithm that the apple feature have to be like it is to be red, it should be round, right? So these kind of features I need to feed into the supervised learning algorithm. But whereas in unsupervised learning, the algorithms learn by themselves without you providing the feature information. So in unsupervised learning algorithms, they are mainly used for clustering purposes. Clustering means based upon the similarity, gathering those data or the logs together. Like for example, you may not have the visibility or the information about how many kind of attacks have happened between this particular machine A and the machine B. Now, if you want to compare this kind of information, then the similar kind of a logs, how they appear, like for example, let's say you have router A, which has detected some logs, and you have a firewall B, which has detected certain logs, and now you want to cluster them together in order to identify the particular pattern of the attack. Now you do not know any specific input to feed to the machine, and you want the machine to come out with this kind of information. So in that case, unsupervised learning algorithms will help you derive that pattern, and based upon the pattern they assimilate all the information, and they will cluster these different types of information that are collected together in the form of a cluster. Like you may want to do the clustering based upon your network perimeter devices. You can categorize them as like whether it is a firewall or IPS or IDS, I don't know what it is. I want all the logs of these three devices to be clustered together. That way you may want to define the algorithm. That algorithm will be able to do this, do the clustering together and visualize them. So that way you can use either supervised learning or unsupervised learning algorithms to cluster these different logs and help you determine the targets, help you determine the attacking patterns. And that will also help you determine what kind of vulnerabilities currently you have. And then we have reinforcement learning. In the reinforcement learning technique, what we generally do is, suppose you have learned some output or outcome from the log analysis. And now you may want to correct your algorithm or make some minor modifications to your machine learning model in order to improvise the quality of the output. Like let's say, for example, I have built a model. The model has analyzed the data, it has analyzed the information, but I have a lot of false positives and I want to improvise that output. Then in that case, based on the outcome, what we generally do is we feed back this particular outcome into the model, saying that this is a false positive and I do not want the model to classify this as a false positive. So I will feed back that into my reinforcement learning algorithm. Now, once I provide that feedback, the algorithm learns from our feedback and will improvise its output, thereby reducing the error whenever you identify and provide the feedback to the system. So due to this continuous learning process, the reinforcement learning improvises at every feedback and will give out an excellent output, which you may want to further fine tune based upon your objectives, your needs, and thereby achieve a very good outcome. And there are various convolutional neural networks in order to achieve reinforcement learning. We have LeNet, AlexNet, ResNets, and there has been a continuous research and development going on in this area in order to build new neural networks which are quicker, which are faster, which can take less amount of time in learning and give the better outcome. So there has been a constant research in academics, in academic institutions, and even in the startup environment. There have been a continuous progress to fine tune and improvise and bring out a very good reinforcement learning model. So if you look at the output, what we can achieve based upon the analysis, like visual, I have just tried to put these graphs for you to understand and analyze how the classification takes place, how the regression takes place, and how the clustering takes place. So here, if you look into the classification, we are able to differentiate the log outputs based upon the color scheme here. You can see that the graph displays the green and the blue dots. So you are able to visualize the data output with the help of the color representation. So if I want to give an example here, let's say your green dots are all from your firewall and the blue dots are all from the router. That way you may want to classify, or you may want to classify that all the green dots are the hacker IP addresses and the blue dots are all the targets. So like that, you can classify and visualize all the data that you have so far collected, gathered, and you have fed to the machine learning model. And in the regression, here what we are trying to do is we have a certain baseline and you want to analyze all the different logs as to how many are around the baseline and how many are outliers. So when you want to align this to the baseline can be anything. Like for example, let's say your normal working hours from 9 to 6, and you want to see how many attacks have happened after the working hours. Then you can set the 9 to 6 as a baseline, and you may want to see how many attacks have happened after the 6 p.m. and how many attacks have happened near the 9 a.m. in the morning. So that kind of regression analysis you can perform, which will help you identify these various attacks as per the timelines that have happened. And in the k-means clustering, the graph shows here, like it clusters the various data points together which are looking similar. So here, when we talk about the similarity, like you may want to apply this into the cybersecurity analysis, saying that you want to cluster all the attacks that have happened on the applications and certain critical assets, and you may want to identify certain compliance violations. So like that, you may want to define the various criteria based on which you want to cluster whatever the logs that you have collected. So by applying these artificial intelligence machine learning techniques, you are not just able to analyze the logs properly, but also you are able to identify the attacks within a short span of time, perform the analysis, and take the preventive measures. Even you can find out the compliance deviations which you may want to follow, which you are bound to follow due to various regulatory mechanisms, due to various regulatory bodies. And you may also want to identify what are the kind of the systems which are to be taken care of, which are to be protected with a high degree of security in place. So like that, the artificial intelligence and machine learning helps you overcome the pains in the analysis and with a quick result, and thereby helping you to safeguard your cybersecurity posture and also help you put in place all those remedial measures by giving you a complete clarity about the various logs, analysis, kind of solution. And that is how the artificial intelligence will be able to provide you with the advanced techniques in analyzing the cybersecurity. Okay, so that's all from my end. Thanks a lot for attending the session today, and you can ask any kind of questions, and I would be happy to answer those.